there's finally somebody here. Oh, there's two people here. So now I can start talking. I really hate talking. We are going to talk about changing from, oh no, I thought you didn't join the group. Didn't you leave the group, Michelle? Darn it, you're here. You were just given a tour of your place, and now I'm going to give a tour of mine. I have to, I'm not prepared. Hold on. We are going to talk about transitioning from home bakery to brick and mortar, which is where I'm at. We're going to give a tour of the bakery in a little bit, and then I'm going to tell you how I found deals on equipment, and then we're going to talk about permits and equipment that you may or may not have known that you need or don't need, and then if there's time, I'll talk about the food truck. I won't be able to show the food truck because I am at the bakery and the food truck is at my house, which is a half an hour that way, which is that way. I don't know anything about a podcast, Cindy. Is there a podcast? Okay. Transitioning from a at-home bakery to a brick and mortar. Whenever we switched to the brick and mortar bakery, I was basically thrown out of my home kitchen because I was messing it up and we needed a bigger space, and it was becoming a full-time job since I had gotten fired from the full-time job that I had. The first thing whenever you're looking for a bakery space is to find somewhere that you can obviously fit all of the equipment in that you need and have a place where you can sell your stuff. In our bakery, we do not have a space for people to sit. I am sitting at the only table that I have, and it's usually outside. It's just way too compact in here. Between the kitchen and the sales area, there is 300 square feet. My voice is a wonderful cadence. Great. The best way to find a commercial space is to go onto Marketplace or local realty companies and see what kind of space there is. You want the lowest possible rent that you can find, which we did. We got very lucky. The person that owns the building basically begged us to come into the building, so she gave us a good deal on it. There's going to be a lot of ums because I do a lot. Whenever Stacy was doing her tour of the bakery, she ummed. I ummed. No, I took voice lessons from Stacy, not you, Heather. Oh my gosh. I hate doing live stuff. I got notes. We're just going to jump right into a tour, and if I think of stuff about going from the at-home to the commercial space, I'll let you know. So let me see if I can switch the camera around here. So this is how you walk into the bakery, and the bakery case is the first thing that you're going to see. This is where all of my cheesecakes would go. I do have a little drink cooler. And then I do have some sales area back here. I do actually have my gooey butter cake out. That is the only thing that does not need to be refrigerated other than some cookies that I have. So those stay out all night, and that's right by the window. So people walk by and they can see it and then they can come in. This would be where I have my regular chocolate chip cookies and stuff for sale. Most important thing is the cheesecake and the cold items like my cheesecake sandwich cookies. That's where all the important stuff goes. And then I've got a bakery case and the door is open. I'm gonna probably make people seasick. And then in my little sales area, I have all of my things that I would put the cheesecakes in, or pick up the cookies with. I do have some dog treats over there for the occasional dog that comes in. I know it's bad to have a bakery and talk about dogs and wanting dogs in here, but we are very dog friendly. I have dogs that come in all the time. I like dogs. I like to pet dogs. Dogs are my favorite. I like dogs better than humans. Then if you turn around, this is the sales counter. So I would have the cash register here and then the iPad there, but I'm talking on the iPad, so it's not there. You got a cash drawer, and then in my counter space, there's all kinds of storage where I have money, stickers, bags, cleaning supplies, and then I never keep this locked. So if you ever want to come figure out what my cheesecake recipe is, it is right there. And it's never locked. The door is locked, but you won't be able to get in. Once you get out of the sales area, the kitchen is right there. We got the 3-bay sink. We're not going to look in the sink because there's some dirty dishes in there. This is a piece of equipment that I'll talk about in a little bit that you will need, that you may not have thought of that you will need. There's a hand washing station. And then this is a place where we put the dishes to dry. I have the heavy duty mixer. I got the ovens. Over here, I got some storage area for measuring cups, and then the Ninja. Yes, I do have a Ninja mixer that I grind stuff up with. I got the KitchenAid. There's the water that I drink a lot of. Got more storage up there. Do not steal my recipe that is never locked, Heather. This is some crust that no, I have not found my missing baking powder, Courtney. This is some crust that I have ready for tomorrow. In my prep table, there's all kinds of storage area, and then down below here is my gooey butter cake mix that I make every day, and then some chocolate chips, cocoa. We save our eggshells and I give them to some people, then they use them for fertilizer or put them in the bird feed and stuff like that. Over here is some of the dry storage. So this is my powdered sugar. This is one of my freezers. And then this is your sanitary sink that you have to mop the floor. And then I got some more storage areas here for sugar, graham cracker, and flour. Got a refrigerator. This is my only refrigerator. It gets very compact and tight in there all the time. It is full. Then it's got a freezer. And there's another freezer here. This is bathroom, and then there's never enough storage, so there's more storage here. I got some storage containers. Since we sell soda, I got soda. This is one of my display pedestals. I got more storage containers here. Whenever I do deliveries on Tuesday, this is the bag that I use. I pack it full of cheesecake. More storage, more storage, more storage. And these are my cake containers for the full-size cheesecakes. More eggshells that I keep, and then I keep all the sour cream containers and I recycle them. I give them to somebody and they plant stuff in them. There is more storage in this place here. That's where we keep Christmas trees and all kinds of stuff that I very rarely use. Oh, there, it's not blurry anymore. This is some other junk that we don't want to talk about. So, we didn't do this thing yet. So this is where I keep all the aluminum foil. I use a lot of oil for the cookies, obviously. Vinegar is used in one of the recipes. Red velvet is what I use that in. Regular vanilla is very expensive, so I use vanilla extract, imitation vanilla extract, and I go through a lot of it. I go through about a gallon a week. And then I got some other various things here. This is one of my favorite spots right here. This is all my moonshine and my bourbon and my rum and all the other alcohol that I use. I do make my own vanilla a lot of the time that I use for cookies. So there is that. That is my prep fridge. That is the only fridge I have. Downstairs, which I won't show you because it's a basement from the late 1800s. It's very dark and scary. They're putting in a walk-in cooler that I'll be able to use as storage for some stuff, so then I'll be able to use more than just the refrigerator up here. I'm going to try to turn it around here. There, I'm back. I gotta get my notes. Now we are going to talk about the equipment that you might not know that you need. Let me flip it right around here. So this thing here is a grease trap. Depending on what city you're in, they may require you to have it. It is one of the grossest things that you will ever have to mess with. You can hire somebody to clean it out. I clean it out myself. It is really, really nasty. I do clean it out on my days off because it stinks up my whole building and then stinks up the building next door. It's not the most fun thing at all. Another piece of equipment that you might not know that you need. Let me see, there was something else that I had a note. 3-bay sink. Obviously you know that you need that. So this bay would be for the soap. The middle I use for rinse, and you can really do it in any order that you want. That bay over there is for sanitizer. Sanitizer, they would like you to use bleach, or you can use something called Stearamine. It does not bleach your clothes. It will not tear up your clothes. It is completely safe for your clothes, does not dry your skin out. And then you can also use it in a spray bottle to clean your counters and stuff like that. Hand sink is something that you will need. You need separate from the 3-bay sink. You can use a 4-bay sink. And then along with that, you need a towel station and a hand soap station. And then another thing, depending on, you will definitely need it, but depending on where you're at will determine where you need it. It's the sanitary sink, so you can use your mop bucket. It has to have hot water, has to be on the floor, all that stuff. The health department would like you to have everything in containers. I'm going to be flipping back and forth a lot because I have no clue what I'm doing. Health department wants you to keep all your ingredients off the floor. I go through a lot of powdered sugar, so that will hold about 100 pounds of powdered sugar. And then those are all the same size over there. They're all up off the floor. I go through about 100 pounds of sugar a week, about 50 pounds of flour a week. I'm starting to go through more baking powder. Courtney mentioned a while ago, asked if I had found my baking powder. Somewhere along before I went to vacation and came back, I have misplaced 25 pounds of baking powder. I have no idea where it went. I can't find it. So whenever we're walking around doing the tour here, if you see it, scream. Nanette, you do not have to have a eye wash station. It would probably be recommended, but there's not really anything that I keep in the kitchen that I would need to wash my eyes out with. I'm speeding right along here. Let's see, I got the hand sanitations, and we're going to talk about deals on equipment. I'm going to go back up front here. So whenever you're getting ready to open up your bakery, the way we did it, I had 0 loans. I did not want any debt at all. So I looked on Facebook Marketplace and auction sites and stuff like that. This bakery case here, brand new. It's a little old. I think it's like 6 or 7 years old. Brand new, it would have been $12,000. On an online auction, I found it, and I bid several times and didn't think I was going to get it at all. I figured somebody else would outbid me on it. By the time the auction was over, I paid $164 for it. You have to be careful with auction sites because most of the time they will say that the equipment was working whenever it was removed from the last building. That is not necessarily true. This bakery case was not working whenever I plugged it in. It turned on, did everything it was supposed to except for cool, which is the most important thing. So as soon as I got it home, we took it to a refrigeration place, and there was a hole in it. Where did I get my flour and sugar containers? Terry? I got them from Webstaurant. I think they were like $174 or something like that. I can't remember for sure. So I took the bakery case to a refrigeration repair place. They fixed the hole in it, put some Freon in it. I spent $150 on fixing it. So to get it operational, including what I paid at the auction, it was like $350 by the time I was done. And it would have been $12,000 brand new. The storage area that I have here, we had someone that owns a business near us custom make that, and that was like $150 or so. It wasn't very bad at all. And then I have a matching one over here. The counter space that I have, I actually got from Sam's. This is one of the only things that I paid full price for and bought brand new. This the cash register area, this printer, I went to a auction in our town, and there was an ice cream store that was closing, and I got those for super cheap. I think for both of these I paid like $15 or something. The printer brand new would have been almost $300, and then this cash drawer would have been, I think, like $200, but I paid way less than that for everything. Microwave we got, it was donated to us, so that was free. Prep table there, I actually did pay full price for. It was brand new, but there was a guy that was selling them for super cheap because he buys them in bulk, and I didn't pay full price for that at all. The 3-bay sink I did actually buy full price, brand new, because I couldn't find a used one that I liked anywhere. Mixer, hold on a second. The mixer, I got somebody that worked at a school kitchen was selling it. They had a concessions business that they had, and they weren't using it anymore. So they wanted to sell it brand new. That would have been like $4,000. It's blurry. There we go. I ended up paying $700 for that, and I found it through a friend of a friend. The ovens, I had been looking on auctions. How do you find local auctions, Myra? Search the internet and search Facebook. Just look for local auctions in your area. Local online auctions, or for instance, since I'm in Missouri, I searched for Missouri online auctions and then Illinois auctions, and then there's a ton of them that show up. I think in Missouri we have like 4 or 5 online auction houses, and I have to drive 2 hours away to pick up the stuff. But I've been looking in auctions and online for ovens, and there's a local restaurant supply place that was going out of business that had these ovens. Again, these ovens, brand new, would have been $4,000 a piece. They were made in 1989. I got them both for $700 a piece. No, I got them for $700 total. They're not the best working ovens in the world. This one down here will only cook like a regular oven. They're both convection ovens. And I can only cook one cheesecake at a time. It's kind of inconvenient. I don't have enough racks to add more into it. This one up here is where I cook all the mini cheesecakes. It is a convection oven, and I use this one every day. The one down below I don't use as often. But I got both of those for $700, and it would have been $4,000 a piece. Freezer, again, I got those at an auction. No, actually this one I found on Marketplace, and it was super cheap. That freezer I found on Marketplace, it was super cheap. And then I got a freezer downstairs that I actually paid full price for. The drying area, I found that at the auction that I got the bakery case from. It was super cheap. So the best way to find stuff, and actually with the ovens, you do not need new ovens. New ovens need to be broken in, and sometimes they can take a couple years to break in and get working correctly, from what I've heard. These work fine. My wife hates it because she doesn't use them very often, but I'm used to them, and I can cook a lot of stuff every day in it. What else am I supposed to talk about? Permits. So whenever we opened or got ready to open the bakery, I had to talk to the city and the county and see what kind of permits we needed. We had to, since we were doing construction, and by construction, I built that wall and put in some lights. I had to talk to an architect and had to get an architectural drawing. Those can be expensive. Somebody posted yesterday, somebody was asking about going into a brick and mortar building, and somebody had commented that an architect cost about $4,000. That is correct. Most of the time they are pretty expensive. Depends on the drawings and all kinds of other stuff. I found an architect for less than $2,000, and then I've actually sent her several customers, so she's become a customer of mine because I send her customers all the time. So you will need a building permit, you will need a construction permit, and then to be in here, I have to have a merchant license, I have to have an occupational license, and then obviously the Missouri retail sales license, sales tax for the city that you're in. I actually operate in 3 different cities, so I have 3 different sales tax letters. The thing up there is just for the Chamber of Commerce. You don't have to have that. It's good to be in the Chamber of Commerce, though. They're very helpful. Permit for, you need to have a health inspection. And the health inspector gives us this nice little thing, tells you how to use the 3-bay sink. Along with the health inspection, you need to take Serve Safe or something similar to that, depending on the city that you're in. And then that reminds me, you also have to have a little sign tells you how to wash your hands. And then in the bathroom about employees washing their hands before they go back to work and all of that good stuff. I think that I have rattled through every possible thing that I could think of other than the food truck. So I will answer some questions and then I'll talk about a food truck for a little bit and we'll see what happens. Let me see, how much would you say money-wise just to find and open your location, and did you have an emergency fund just in case you didn't make a profit at the end of the first month? That's a good question. I'm not sure what your name is for sure. Janeth says, how much would you say money-wise just to find and open your location, and did you have an emergency fund just in case you didn't make profit at the end of the month? So I pay $500 rent a month, and to do construction and everything, it was, there we go, it's Junie. My total construction cost was a little over $10,000. I did not take out any loans. I did not have a backup plan if I did not make a profit in the first month. My landlord insisted that we would make back the construction cost in no time at all. The first day that I opened, I made more than 3 times my rent in sales, and before the month was over, I had already paid for construction and all the other costs that I have. A reason that I do things very slowly, it's taken me over a year to do the food truck, is I pay cash for everything. We don't take out loans. I did get a loan from the SBA during COVID. The bank that I bank with insisted that I do that loan, and then we got the money and did some upgrades to the truck, and then they went ahead and just closed the loan for me. I didn't even have to worry about that. I just signed some papers, they gave me the money, I spent it, and then they forgave the loan. Electric is not horribly expensive here. I have baseboard heat. I don't ever use that because the ovens are constantly going, so it's nice and warm here. I have a window unit, which is the only air conditioner. During the summer, it gets a little bit cool, so the air conditioner runs a lot. The air conditioner is probably my biggest bill out of everything. Let me scroll back here. How many square feet do you have for the shop and the basement, Nanette? The kitchen and the sales area are 300 square feet. Between the bathroom and my storage area behind the kitchen, that's 100 square feet, and the basement is, I'm not sure how many square feet, but it covers my building, the next building, or the next spot beside me, which is 800 square feet, and then the brewery next door. So there's a lot of square footage that I can use for storage down there. Where did you get your flour and oh, I already answered that. Is that a Hobart, Nanette? Yes, it was a Hobart. Okay. Now I'm ready for questions if anybody's got some questions. We're going to walk back here and I'll just show you some of the ingredients that I use. So for my gooey butter cake, I make my own cake mix. I won't tell you the recipe because it's top secret. Eventually we will sell just that and I will ship it. So if you ever need a gooey butter cake mix that you want to make yourself, you can do that. There's some more beer that we use. Jesse, I look forward to your visit. Let me know if there's any cheesecake that I need to make specifically that you would like. Just send me a message. Do I have any employees? Jeannie. My mom helps me in the morning for a couple hours. She doesn't like to be up here, so I try to get as much stuff possibly done. I I try to get as much stuff done as I possibly can to get her out of here as quickly as possible so she can go home because she doesn't like to be up here. She just does dishes. I hate doing dishes. My wife just quit her job, so she is going to be up here more often. She does a lot of baking still at home and then brings the stuff up here since she hates our ovens. Do you get charged by square foot for your rent, or is it a set fee, Nanette? I do get charged per square foot. I don't really know how much it is. Like I said, it's 500. Actually, I guess it would be $1 square foot. I haven't seen anybody that has typed ring ring banana phone. Hey, Cynthia. Just waiting for my gluten-free gooey butter cake. I've only made a few gluten-free gooey butter cakes, and I don't like the texture of it, so that is not something that I have sold a whole lot of, but I'm still working on that. I do make gluten-free cheesecake. Since I'm waiting for some questions, I'll talk about the food truck that I can't show you a picture of. Whenever COVID happened last year, we started selling. I did more of the door-to-door delivery stuff, and then we also did no contact sales. So people would call in and they would place an order, and then I would take it outside and then leave it right there past the weedy looking plants. And we started a food truck rally. I did not have a food truck, but we set up a tent, and it did well enough that we were able to save some money to buy a food truck. I found a 1995 U-Haul truck that I got for $2,000, and then I did nothing with it for like 6 months, and then I started buying stuff as we were able to. And we've been converting that all summer. I've shared some pictures of that. So over the last year, we've spent not more than, including the price of the truck, $6,000 on a window and some doors and lighting and air conditioner inside of it. I'm almost done with that. We got a sink that I have to get secured in there somewhere. I have to find some storage. I have to get a freezer and a refrigerator, and it's pretty much ready to go. And then just have to get an inspection on that and get some signage on it. Cynthia, the best advice to go from home to brick and mortar is to find a good high traffic area that has low rent that you are certain that you can afford, along with all the other bills like electricity and your ingredients purchases and stuff like that. So definitely want a high traffic area, unless you are just custom orders and stuff like that. And we don't really rely on a lot of traffic. I do a lot of customer orders. The walk-in customers are good, but they are not the ones that really pay my rent. Let's see. What has been my biggest challenge, Cynthia? Trying to figure out how the customers work. Each week is totally different. Once you think you have customers figured out, and you think you've figured out a pattern, it changes. So that has probably been my biggest challenge. Another big challenge is finding the cheapest ingredients. I use about 4 different distributors for various things, and then I kind of bounce between them depending on what the price of the ingredients are at the time. So it's always a challenge trying to figure out who has the cheapest stuff. Let me go back here. missed a question. What kind of cold storage space do you have, Jeannie? I have 3 chest freezers upstairs, and then I have the refrigerator freezer upstairs. And then downstairs, there's a huge freezer as well. And then at home, whenever I'm doing deliveries, there's a freezer that I take stuff to. Jesse is wondering about what the process was with the health department. Some departments are picky. So I got very lucky with our health department. They are overworked and understaffed. Whenever I was first delivering, the health department for the county that our store is in stumbled on me one day, and that was whenever I was just doing deliveries. So they looked in my car to see that I was properly cooling stuff, and then they just kind of let me go and didn't do anything about it. Whenever we opened the store, they did a full inspection, but like I said, she was overworked, so I don't think she did it completely 100% the proper way. I keep everything clean, so it's never a problem. But in addition to that, we had to do a serve safe course, and she basically gave us the answers because I think she was tired and didn't want to do it anymore. She no longer works here, and we have another health inspector that is, again, overworked. I've gotten very lucky, and I'm going to probably jinx myself. We have not seen her for 2 years. Whenever the food truck is up and going, I will have to see her, and then she'll probably visit, but I'm not really concerned about it because we keep the store super clean. There's not really a whole lot of store to clean. So we had to make sure that everything was off the ground and make sure we had the hand sink, 3-bay sink. There was certain piping on the sink that we had to have. She didn't care about the grease trap that we had, but the city required that we had that. Let's see. An approximate initial investment, Cynthia. Including construction and equipment, it was probably a total of $16,000. We spent very little. The most expensive thing was the construction. That was about $10,000. So it wasn't. As long as you're looking at auctions and stuff like that, it's pretty easy to find cheap stuff. Yes, the air gap in the sink, Jesse, is one of the things that the health department was very picky about. And actually, whenever I did that, I had it one way because the city required it that way, and then the health department required it a different way. So I let them argue about it, and then the city came and fixed it for me. So I didn't even have to really worry about that. Can you tell us what your plan is for the food truck? Will it be parked somewhere every day for people to buy from, or will you have a set number of days where you will have it set up and selling out of? So for the next month and a half, there's a food truck rally in the city that I live in, which is a half an hour from the bakery, and we will be set up at that. And then we will also be set up throughout the week through a couple businesses that have asked us to set up and sell. The bank that I use for all of my business stuff has been very helpful. They were the ones that made sure that we did the SBA loan for the COVID stuff and then got us the money. They've invited me to talk to several groups. They've invited me to sell at all of their banks. Whenever I'm out on my route, they said that we can set up in their parking lot and sell anytime that we want. There's a couple other businesses that I work with that is going to let us set up apparently Best Buy and Lowe's and stuff like that are very food truck friendly, so we're going to try to set up there. Then, in addition to the food truck rally and setting up at the businesses, we're going to be available for weddings and other events like that. Am I coming to St. Louis with my truck? We're looking at 9 Mile Garden, so that is a possibility. And then St. Charles, I think, has a truck thing also that I'm looking at. Amy. Let's see. What kind of permits do you need to ship? I don't need any. It's pretty easy. Let's see if I missed any questions. I thought that 9 Mile Garden was a lot bigger than it was until we got there. The way I read it, there was a lot of trucks and stuff there, but there's only like 6 or 7 at the time. But they're all very good trucks. I don't see any more questions, so I guess we are done, unless you have some more questions pretty quick. Jesse, if you want a food truck, well, let me know. I'll try to get there. Go through the shipping steps. Since cheesecakes need to be kept cold, which carrier do you use? I've not been shipping cheesecakes yet. We are still working on that. I have a company that I found that makes insulated boxes. So they are super thick cardboard boxes, and they have styrofoam boxes inside of that. So I'll put the cheesecakes frozen inside that, and then dry ice, and then also, depending on how far it's going, some of the blue ice packs and stuff like that. And then it's usually good for 2 to 3 days, and then I use FedEx. A lot of people don't like FedEx. I don't particularly like parts of FedEx. Whenever we were in Hawaii, somebody took one of our pieces of luggage whenever we got to Texas, and they FedExed it to us. It was supposed to be here yesterday, still not here today, so I'm still waiting on that. But if you use FedEx Express, it's super cheap, it's super quick, and then it usually gets there within 2 days. I've had, I think, one problem where there was some sort of delay, and then it was the whole weekend. But with the gooey butter cakes, it's the same way. As soon as I make the gooey butter cakes, they go straight in the freezer, and then the next day, I try to ship on Mondays. That way it has plenty of cushion for mistakes. So I freeze the gooey butter cakes, I put them in a box, and then I put ice packs in the top of the gooey butter cake, and it's wrapped in plastic. And then I put a lid on it, wrap that in plastic, put it in the box, put some more ice packs in it, and ship it. And it's 2 days also. And that does not need an insulated box, since it's not actually a frozen item. The cheesecake does need an insulated box, which is the thing that has slowed us down most, is finding some cheap boxes. Not sure if I missed your answer to this, but what was your monthly revenue before opening a brick and mortar? Burr Marie, I think that's your name. Before we opened the brick and mortar, I was only selling 1 day a week, and I was going from city to city around the area that I was in. And my sales day would start at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I would be done at noon. And then most of the time, depending on the city, it varied from $300 to $500 a day in that 300 in that 3 hour time period. So I was basically selling $500 a week. Cost for using FedEx Express, Haley. I use one certain size box. It's a medium flat box, so it's like 2 inches tall, and it's like 9 by 13 or something like that. Um, I have a special discount, so it's $13 for me to ship it anywhere, and it's 2 days. It's $13. I shipped some stuff to Heather and Corey. It was $13. I've shipped some stuff to North Carolina. It was $13. I shipped some stuff to St. Louis. It was $13. St. Louis is an hour from me, but I didn't want to drive it up there. I just shipped a couple to some people in Hawaii. Anna Lynn, who gave us some cookies whenever we were there, I shipped her gooey butter cake. It was $13. I shipped the girl that we spent 2 days with doing tours. It was $13. How much do the insulated boxes cost, Haley? It is a lot. I don't remember how much it is, but that company requires us to have a minimum of $250 order, and I know that they are not super cheap, so I don't think I'm really getting a whole bunch for $250, but it is what it is. I'll just have to add that onto the shipping cost. We had some test shippings to us. We bought some cheesecakes from other people. Cheesecake and shipping included, it was $80 to $90 depending on the company. And I sell my cheesecakes for $35 to $50. So with the containers, I think they're like 30 or 40 bucks a piece. How much do insulated? I already answered that one. I just read that again. I need to ship. If you let me know, Courtney, what you want me to ship you, I will ship it to you as soon as I can. Uline, Nanette does have some stuff. A lot of the times, Uline is super expensive with everything, but insulated boxes are expensive anyways, and I think Uline does actually carry the boxes that we were looking at. Polar, I think they're Polar. It's Polar something. I can't remember what it's called, but the company did recommend also that we look at Uline for those. Let's see if I missed any questions real quick, and then we are going to be done. Don't know what ooey gooey butter cake is, but you want it. Even though I'm gluten intolerant, I will suffer the consequences. It is worth suffering the consequences for. Let me show you what a gooey butter cake is. This is just a piece of it. This is a regular gooey butter cake here. And this is a toffee one. So the toffee one has toffee bits in it, chocolate chips in it. It has caramel in it, and then it's got toffee and caramel on top of it. And then the original crystal is just a bunch of sugar. Haley, do I ship internationally as well or just within the U.S.? Right now I just ship in the U.S. I've not checked on international yet. The guy that got me the discounts through FedEx, he does ship internationally though, so it would be pretty easy to figure out how to do that. All right, I'm gonna end it because I'm about to die of thirst because I don't really talk all this much. So I will see you later.